Let's go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Good morning. Top of the morning here in sunny California. You're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live as always. You know how we do it around here, folks. It's nothing but straight talk up in here. My co-host is the Invisible Man. You guys know who I'm talking about, Mr. Keith Swanson. People been looking for him. I think it's almost 2 years now. They say, I don't think Keith exists. I said, yes, he does. So for the last year, we've had kind of a little hunt out for him. We said, if anybody catch Keith, you know his voice, run up and grab him, hold him and give me a call. Folks, hurry up and do that because the pot of money is really building up, you guys. He's not invisible. Keith is amongst you most of the time. You
walking right next to some people.
Listen for us. Come on, Keith. I'll talk a little bit so they can, maybe they have
stand right next to him. And they said, do I know you from somewhere? I said, no, not really.
They should have just grabbed you and called me. You guys missing the money. The pot is building up. But Keith, how you been doing these last days?
I have been doing well, Dr. Rosie. How about yourself? I know you've been busy. So.
I've been busy. You know, there's so much going on, Keith. I tell you, I don't know. I've been stocking up on water, keeping my gas tank full, making sure I have a penny at the house because I don't know,
tighten up
Korea and everybody else. It look like everybody want to start something around here.
You don't even know the half of it, Dr. Rosie. One day we have to talk offline about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get the stream shut down by talking about it.
Okay, I know what you at City Hall. City councilman, they going crazy. Oh Lord, how much? So what is the world coming to?
They're getting real relaxed with it. They've always felt that way. They're just getting relaxed. I think they can say it openly now.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, it's going to be really, really interesting, you guys, as to what's going to be going down over here. So I think the best thing anybody can do right now for yourself is find you a lover. Find you somebody to love you. That's what needs to be your next best step.
Sound like Stevie Wonder's song. Love
Amen.
today.
I chime in on that.
Find somebody who loves you, baby.
Love is in need of love today, huh?
Find somebody who loves you. I think that's going to be the best thing we can do these last days because everything else is off the chain, okay? Kids off the chain, the school's off the chain. You better find somebody to hold. That's all I can say.
Yep, coming apart it seems. Yep.
Well, anyway, you guys, we have a great show for you today. Someone I've known for a long time. She's an author. She's just extraordinary, very compassionate person. She's someone who loves and cares for people, and she believes in finding ways to heal yourself or else. My guest is none other than Miss Trudy Harper Hill. She's a polygamist. And I tried to say farming. She said, no, I'm still. I had written up trying to be nice. She's a farmer. She said, no, baby. I was born
lifelong, huh?
I was born a polygamist. And she's the author of her book coming out, The Planet Kindness, A Global Rebirth. I think she may need to rename that title if we get through talking today. But anyway, our guests would share with us reason such relationship as, a polygamous relationship, why it will work and the reason it will not work. The question is this for me. Why do women accept a chick on the side while frowning, turning their nose up when you talk about polygamy? Keep something wrong with that picture. It's time to get real about our needs and wants. So you can call in today. If you ain't scared, you can call in and express yourself because we're going to be talking with Miss Trudy Harper Hill. Our topic will polygamous relationship help solve some of the ills of Black America. I think so, but I hope he's not Keith. I'm getting ready to get put out to church again. I know they ain't gonna let me in now.
Oh, they let you in? I thought they put you out months ago.
One finally let me back in. They said I've been nice for a while. They haven't heard me talking crap. I said, okay. So I guess we'll put you back in on trial. But Lord, I hope don't nobody call the pastors and tell them on today.
Oh,
don't y'all call your pastors. Don't you call them. I mean, I at least need to get in there on first Sunday and get my wine.
Oh.
Okay, Miss Trudy Harper, how are you today? And first, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rosie, and thank you to the listeners. You know, I'm very well, and this is sort of surreal for me because, you know, like you said, I'm a lifelong polygamist. This is something that I have wanted since I was in my early 20s, but I did not know any Black folks who were doing polygamy. I could only find, they didn't have the internet back then. I could only find the Amish and another kind of community, the Quakers. And, that wasn't for me. But yeah, I strongly believe in the big family unit. And so it's sort of surreal for me to talk about this because this is part of my mission in life. It's to find ways to go back to childhood when we had to share. You remember that? We had to share.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just really interesting as I've unpacked, years of trauma from my own life in my own process of evolving, that I'm back to childhood. And so I think that, first of all, let me preface what I'm going to say, that I'm not a relationship expert, but I am an expert on myself. And one of the commandments of our ancient ancestors was to know thyself. So I think that if we start from that premise that we need to know ourselves and be healthy with ourselves before we start trying to get into these relationships and these marriages and then micromanage the other person and what the other person is doing. Because I was really good for that. I've been married 3 times. For the last 30 years, I've been married. And how I begin my marriages is by asking the men, do you want to have more than one person? Is there anybody else that you love? Because I don't like drama. And, each husband said, no. I said, nobody? I mean, we weren't spring chickens. So I was like, there's nobody that you have love or that you want to be in the relationship with us. They all said no. And, I ended up sharing each husband with different women, and that was never a problem for me because I'm not jealous or possessive by nature. But, baby, you get me into a monogamous relationship and somebody has told me that it's just going to be me, and that's where the problems began. So, with that being said, we got to be truthful. Like you were saying, Dr. Rosie, we got to be honest about what our needs and wants are. I'm monogamous. I am a one-man woman. And the other part of that is, like, a lot of us are in such a hurry to not be alone and to have somebody else validate us that we end up with the wrong people. When God has plans, the universe, whatever you call God, source, the universe, the Most High, Jehovah, whatever you call God, there are contracts, there are soul ties that we have with people who are meant to be with us so that things can be in harmony and in alignment and fruitful. and we're rushing to be with people. Some of us are just so horny or so lonely or so whatever that we get with the wrong people. And, you know, all hell breaks loose when you're not equally yoked. So I got a lot to say.
But it's interesting when you mentioned sharing. Right, we really got away from that because I remember when my kids was growing up, we had one television. It was in the den. It wasn't a TV in the living room or in the bedroom. So they had to share. They had to compromise. If one wanted to watch a show, then they would all list what they wanted to watch. And if the other one didn't want to watch it at that time, they could go to bed or read a book. But they learned to share. So we're getting away from sharing. Everybody have their own television, even their own refrigerator in that room. So sharing is so far from our minds, you know. But like you said, people are not honest in relationships, you know. And the question have been asked so many times, and I'll ask you, and I'll ask Keith and Shawana. Do you believe that a person can love more than one person at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. I'm experiencing that now. I personally cannot, but again, we got to know ourselves. And because I personally, like all three of my husbands and my twin flame are alpha men, and this is what I really want to make this really clear, alpha men, those men who are leaders, those men who will take initiative, who typically are very confident, charismatic, those men, they not only like other women, women love them. Not only do women love them, but they got other women. If it's a younger alpha male, perhaps maybe, or somebody who's, you know, in the church, who's really striving to stay in alignment with what we've been programmed to believe, that you have to have one woman, then maybe they don't have other women, but baby, believe me, they are tempted to get that other woman. So in order for us to heal these relationships, we've got to set these men free. And just personally, you know, I do feel like men are very comfortable talking with me. I have brothers, my ex-husbands, they talk to me because I create a space for them to really be honest. And once they're honest, it's not that, okay, they're honest and our feelings get hurt and then we withhold sex. You know, men they need sex, they need food, you know, they need certain things. So, and then we wonder, like they're traveling off to different race women who are more tolerant or who have a different background, or even like really younger women who might not have been hurt as much or traumatized and aren't angry, where they can like unpack and relax and be themselves.
What you're saying, black men need to be able to unpack. And when you said set them free, do you mean give them the freedom to love who they want to love as long as they are treating you the way you want to be treated? Let's put some boundary there. But let me hold that thought because we have a caller. Let's take a call. Remember, Shawana, when I come back for us to deal with that question, okay? Okay, go ahead. We have a call on 213. 213. You have a question or comment, or maybe you're just listening. Okay, maybe they're just listening. So let's go back to that question I just asked you.
Is this for who's supposed to be speaking?
That's for you. We was talking about responding to what you mentioned about setting them free, and I was saying, shouldn't there be some boundaries with that, with what they can do and can do? Okay.
Yeah. So for
me, you're saying that have value men have exercise options. They don't cheat. They exercise options.
Right. Can you imagine the hell that is to be in a relationship with somebody and then not be able to be all of who you are? And we are not being who we are. And that is what sets us free. The truth sets us free. We have inner children. We have an inner child inside of us. And as long as we stifle who we are, then we are not going to reach our full potential. We're not going to be in divine health. There's foundational things before we can even get to sharing the mate. There's foundational things we need to do with ourselves and with our maker. And so the boundaries for each person on how to share, they're going to be different. Like, one of the main things for me is honesty and cleanliness. I don't want anybody bringing me home any smells and nastiness, no diseases.
Mm-hmm. And no
but
drama.
I have no drama. So let me say this, because I was married for 3 times, 10 years each, and I was quote unquote seen as one of the good women, wife material, wifey. So I haven't experienced being abused by men, but I have been traumatized. I was traumatized in my childhood. We can get into that, and that's part of that is in the book. But I was seen as a good wife. We all have good and bad traits. However, one of the things that I learned from my very last relationship with my twin flame was how out of order I was. And he is a younger true alpha male. And he wasn't going to tolerate all of these attitudes, these egoic and regressive behaviors. I had to go back to the books. I had to go back to school with this one, because I really thought I was all that, and I wasn't.
What is it that he wasn't willing to tolerate? Hold that thought. Let me give the number out. Those who want to chime in, you can call us here at 310-928-7733. That's 310-928-7733. Or you can email us here at innerlightradio@yahoo.com. In case you're at work, you don't want anybody to hear what you're saying. I know how it is. You don't want to be talking this business at work. You may get fired. But anyway, you can email us at innerlight, INNER, innerlightradio@yahoo.com. Hold your thought. We're going to come back to it. Let's take one caller. Sometimes they're calling us from work and can't hold on. Go ahead, caller 213-949.
That's me.
Oh, that's you?
Dr. Rosie?
Yeah.
Dr. Rosie, it's Barbara Gates. I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
I love that. I was thinking about the concept, and I'm wondering now, as we see so many same-sex couples crossing over, down-lowing, and all of the rest of that, what does this polygamy thing look like with reference to that? The brothers that like women and like men, the women that like women and like men. It's not all on one side of the fence, but how is it defined as you understand it in your book?
Hi, and your name is Barbara?
It is.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Hi, I appreciate your question, and I appreciate your energy, because at least you're interested and you're open to hear what it can look like. So it can look like a variety of things, and we have to know who we are. We have to know what we want and what we like. So that's the first thing. The next thing is that, in terms of morality, that's for each person to determine for themselves, because a lot of people have their judgments on what is right and what is wrong. That's not my place, and I don't even delve into that in the book. The book is about options. The book is about expanding our thinking. So for me personally, I had a successful for 8 months. It was for 8 months until we did something wrong, and I talk about that. So we were successful in our.
You said we did something wrong. Explain.
Yes,
what did you do and what did he do, and then we're going to come back to Barbara's question. I want to expound on that.
Okay, so we had a successful polygynous marriage for 8 months, and there were 3 women, and 3 women, and then my ex-husband. He was with the other 3 before me, so I came in. Actually, there were 4 of us, 4 women. So I came in as the 4th wife. He had enough energy. He had enough sexuality, kindness, resources. He helped all of us, and each of us had our own days. And that worked very well for me, because I liked time to myself, and I had a lot of things that I was doing. So the 2 days a week that I got, that worked fine for me. And the women were, I knew them. One of them slept at my house before. I served one of the first queen. You know, she had been in the relationship with him the longest. And what worked was the fact that we were all secure in ourselves. We all had things going on for ourselves. And they were just very nice women. They were older women. So there was one who was 65, one who was 60, one who was 55, and I came in as a 45-year-old woman.
How old was this man?
How old was he? That's what I want to know.
Baby, he was 70 years
He had
old.
to be 12. How many?
No, honey. He was 70.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 70, but he was a Scorpio, if that means anything to you.
Hey.
So I couldn't handle him by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Back then.
Scorpio, yeah.
Yeah.
Watch it, Keith. Watch it, Keith. Watch it.
Oh, yeah.
So now you say you had 2 days with this man, right? 2 nights.
Yeah, this was 2012. I don't remember what days, but I know one was at least on the weekend. I think maybe I had Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, were you having sex both of those days, or he was just there with you?
We made love, had sex, got busy. Yeah. But the problem when things started to go down the rabbit hole, there was this Libra, and she wanted a lot of attention, and she also was living in the basement, and so she was having sex with him every day.
Oh, so she was living in his basement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
Libras
had a
are
basement
possessive.
house.
Yeah, Libras are possessive.
Yeah, and so when I got wind of it, because we were working on a project, when I got wind of it, you know, I was just saying, you know, sis, I'm aware that you're having sex with, you know, everybody else is private but me, so this is my first time really talking about this in a public setting, so I'm very open, but the people who I've had relationships with, they want to remain anonymous, so let me figure out how to talk about it. But the man, my ex-husband, you know, he was fine with going out of order, which that is what caused the problem, and that is why we're not married right now. We're still very close friends, but he liked to flow how he wanted to flow, and in order for polygamy, polygyny, polyandry, any relationship, there has to be an understanding. And, you know, the Bible says, the rules, whatever you believe, in all you're getting, get understanding. And so that it became out of order and is messy. And so particularly the first wife, and she didn't speak up much. And so back then I also was out of order because I was, you know, a bit bossy, a bit controlling. And I checked the second wife about, you know, really sleeping with our husband on the other lady's day. It was okay for me because back then, before I found my twin flame, who I was like the most sexually compatible with, I didn't have to have sex back then, but I enjoyed it in the beginning. But with my twin flame, I was like, baby, wake me up. It doesn't matter, day, night, afternoon. If he's mad, it doesn't matter. So when you're with who you're supposed to be with, then that's a natural energy that will flow. So remember I was talking about how when we're not with the right people, we're so desperate to get into relationships prematurely, then not only will the sex wane once the honeymoon period is over, but, you know, we begin to wake up to all the incompatibilities, and that will drain the life out of the sexual energy anyway. So, did I answer you?
Yes. Kind of.
So okay. Actually, Barbara, I think what it is when you talk about polygamy, whether it's male with another male or a woman with another woman, that the point is, can they deal with you loving someone else other than them? So I don't think it changed based on your sexual orientation.
I was thinking more the other way. Do you have it where women have 3 husbands?
No,
That's
they don't
the
want
thing
I
that.
know
that I was
someone.
thinking.
Very
That
rarely.
I know
They
somebody.
don't want that. How many do you know?
Well, I only know 2. However, and this is the dynamic.
And that's
Those are not
probably it,
alpha
too.
males.
That's probably it.
Those
The
aren't
two
alphas.
you know it is. Okay. Go ahead.
Those aren't alphas. Alphas, those alpha males, they're not going for that. But there's other men, and they're men, but they play a different role in society, and they tend to have dominant women. You know, remember Queen Nzinga was the dominant woman. Queen Nzinga, who ruled Portugal for 30 plus years. So there's women. I'm not a dominant woman. I like the feeling of having a man be in control, who really was in control, not usurping my divine feminine power, but a man who is take charge and makes, the crooked places straight. You can just really relax as a woman and feel feminine. That was the first time I ever felt really feminine. So there's really a lot of ways that we can make this, not even make this work, that we can allow polygamy to work. So Barbara, with the polyandry, the man is not an alpha. He's one of those men who's more laid back, and some men even, find it amusing when they have a woman who likes to run things and take control. And I think they're called betas.
I think what you just said is the answer. I think the definition of those 3 categories was what I was looking for. You had 3, polygamy, and then polyandry, and then the third one. I think the definition of those would actually answer the question that I was looking at. Like, how's that work? Is it always men with multiple women, or is it multiple women with one man? I mean, how's it work? That was my question, and I think you answered it.
Okay, good. So for women who are interested in having more than one man, in my experience, the men are the beta type of men who are more laid back and don't need to take the lead.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And the women also are more the aggressive type, and the ones that I know, men will often say, like, you act more like a man, even though they're heterosexual. Men will say, you act more like brothers act.
So do you think that these types of relationship help solve the ills of Black America? Because I was reared in the South, and if there's anyone holding, I came to you to see if you want to speak. You can unmute your mic and chime in. Maybe you want to listen at first. But where I came from, it was so common for men to have, well, they didn't call it one wife, but everybody knew the other woman that they were going with. They even had children. Yeah. And they were sending children over to the wife house. Go on over there. That's your daddy. Y'all sisters and brothers. And wasn't nobody fighting and pulling out knives. So I don't know how this transition changed, that people got where they wanted to own somebody. Maybe it came out of economic deprivation. Maybe because the man could only provide you sex. I don't know. What is it, Keith?
When people move from the rural areas, agrarian areas to the urban areas, that's when it started to become an issue.
Okay.
Because they forced you into a monogamous or a single family, nuclear family model, along with all the other Europeans. So that's where it came from. And then Then the extended families, the extended community, kind of couldn't stay together. So that's the biggest reason. So you had to change the pattern of how you actually related, how you organized.
Someone who's not speaking need to mute your phone. It might be you, Barb, but mute it until you want to come back in. You know what? I believe someone needs to mute.
Yeah.
I believe that men and women would accept this type of relationship if they were on an island and was nobody but them and the women was that involved. I believe the only reason that women can't accept that is because of what other people think, because of the judgment system from others. But I believe deep down in their hearts that they would be willing, to do the sharing. Because a lot of women don't have time for a man to be standing around in the way all the time.
I
ain't talking about myself.
they do it. But thing is, they do it a different way now. Okay, we call them they call them baby mamas and baby daddies, where you have a man that has multiple children by multiple. So it's not. Is it the same way? The thing is, the state actually picks up most of the burden now. But it's basically the same thing.
I think you can't just be jealous. You have to know your place. But I think we're in a society, we're reared to have one man, and if he dating somebody else, he's cheating on you. Look how many people have divorced good husbands, good wives, because they found out that person is what they call cheated. I even hear people who are not married talking about he cheated on me. I was on a talk show once, and the women were so angry with me because I said if he has not put a ring on your finger, he cannot cheat on you. Yeah. He's not cheated.
They're coming for you, Dr. Rosie. They're coming for you.
That is true, but so many, but especially in the black community, so few black women actually married, so they substituted what they call committed relationships for marriage. So they actually literally changed the category from being in a relationship from different from being single. Single means you're unattached. So they
single people don't cheat though, Keith. I mean, how you cheating? And when I hear men,
let's define cheating though.
Okay.
Can I interject too?
What is cheating?
For me personally, because see, everything that we say is a prayer, and we still have to remember that we have accountability regardless if we're married or not. From the way that I feel is that whatever we agree to is, word is bond. And so although, I know someone that feels that way like you, Dr. Rosie, that, I'm not married, so I don't have to account for everything that I do. But I know for me personally, before I had sex with my husbands or my twin flame, there was an understanding of what we were going to be doing, what the arrangement is. Because if that, we aren't men, women, we're not men. And so a lot of times sex is also associated with an emotional attachment. And that there goes another problem with the attachment. A lot of people are calling love, but love is not attachment. And so like you said, Dr. Rosie, and this is something that I also know, like we've gotten way too much into owning people, like having this sense of ownership over somebody else. And we're sovereign beings. We don't have the right to tell people what to do. We can tell people what we want and what we like, and then we can make certain agreements, because the agreements are really important. And like the order of relationships, having an understanding, that's really important, because nowadays people are doing more of their own thing and their boundaries are very wide, and there's so much hostility, distrust. Things are really a mess. And so I'm glad we're having.
I am too. That's why we're having all these disharmony in the community. And ladies, I want you to know something out there. When you're dealing with a man and he tells you, I don't want to be committed, I don't want to be in a committed relationship, what he's really saying to you is I want more than one woman. Don't call up here. Don't come with no email. I know how you guys do when I make my point. But when you when you say you don't want a commitment, you're saying I don't want to be with just one woman. So women, read between the lines. Read between
Dr.
the lines.
Rosie,
What do you think he's talking about?
I want to weigh in on that one, okay? I don't want to be committed was said to me 29 years ago to my husband. And the next day, there was a stack of U-Haul boxes at the front door, okay? Because I'm not going to mix my life, my money, my assets, and my future with someone who does not have any skin in the game. So I said, either we are going to get it right. And here's the backstory on that. We had a minor child that was going to be the recipient of all of his assets should something happen to his uncommitted bottom while he was living in our household. and I was on fast track to being homeless with that baby mama behind me with a broom. I said, no, that doesn't look like a future to me. So here was my position. If you're uncommitted, then we're not doing anything. We're either all in or we're not in. And here we are 29 years later, and I promise you, if he says he wants to see somebody else, I will allow him to go because she will soon send him back. I promise you.
Queen.
Barbara, that is interesting. Commitment, I'm just saying, you guys, when a man tell you, I don't want a commitment, he's saying, I want to have more than one woman.
Yeah, that's fair. There's two reasons. Either he wants to have more than one woman, or you're not the one he wants to be committed to.
Okay, Queen. Can I interject? Because you know, I had to
call. We're coming to you. 213-359. We're coming to you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've had 3 marriages, and all 3 of these alpha males committed to me. You know, I'm the one, because I do. You know, I brought a lot to the table, and they brought a lot to the table. However, one thing, like I had said earlier on, one thing I realized through my twin flame was that I wasn't all that I thought I was. And there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect, look it up. It's really important because a lot of us suffer from it, where we think we know more than we know. We think we are more than we are. And we need to learn how to be in relationship with ourselves. We need to learn how to properly communicate with each other, because my communication was just so messed up. It was so messed up. It's even a wonder that I stayed married 10 years with each of those men, that they tolerated the way that I talked to them. If I didn't get my way, if I didn't like something, if I felt threatened or jealous, you know, I amped up, I would cuss them out. You know, a lot of I see it on Instagram. I don't do the hand, you know, the loud talking. I've gotten smacked in the face too before. And I didn't, you know, I definitely wasn't going to call the police. Like, why would I call the police? Because I'm in the man's face, just barking, just talking. A man cannot take that. We've got to learn how to be women. And we've got to learn how to talk to people without getting so upset. I've learned it, but I've had a lot of loss. And I had to go through an ego death. So look it up, ego death, dark night of the soul. I had to go through things to get right with myself before I go bossing around a man, a husband, trying to tell him what I don't like. I don't like the way he talked to this woman or that woman. I don't like this and I don't like that. But look at all the stuff that I was doing, you know. I
think you sound like you kind of look back at your past, and I think you kind of put yourself in a subservient position because you, I think you kind of blame yourself.
No, it's not that I blame myself. Not at all. It's not, because I still have what I have now is I have true power. I have true power from source, not egoic power where I'm trying to control another person. I'm saying that regardless of what we like or don't like about what our partner is doing, we still have, there's a way that people will hear us, and there's a way that people need to feel respected. So it's not that I blame myself for like why the relationship ended. I'm taking ownership of the part that I played in it and how I contributed to the demise of a relationship. So first of all, men need to be talked to a certain kind of way. We need to lower the volume. And it's not about
me.
She's killing you, Bob.
You're killing me, baby. I'm
saying you're killing me. You know, that alpha male thing is just way over. It's overstated. It's just way overstated. I have to speak to you in a certain tone, but you can talk to me any old kind of way. No good.
But they won't. What
she's saying, if you talk to them, sweet Barbara, if you tone it down, it's like when you're in an argument with someone. If you get to a whisper, they'll have to stop talking loud to you, because then they got to strain their ear to hear what you're saying.
Yes.
I want to know where these men that y'all talking about live at. What planet are you talking about?
Baby, they're all over. There's so many good ones.
they're athletes. They're rich men. They're entertainers. They're the folks that these are the people that are the top 5%. Okay, they're all over the place. Okay, the thing is that these kind of guys in their realm, if you meet them with aggression, they're going to meet you with aggression. That's what she's trying to say.
Okay, everybody hold your thought. I think we have another call. Do we have 213-359? Go ahead. You may have a question or a comment. By the way, the number is 310-928-7733.
Because Barbara, I'm one of those guys, right? If you meet me with aggression, I'll meet you with aggression. If you got something to say, if you don't have to be sweet and soft and all that kind of stuff. If you just tell me matter of factly, you'll get that back. I don't, That's
why we still looking for you, Keith. That is why we still looking for you.
My mother had to get used to that when I got grown, right? Okay, all that hollering and screaming, can't do that. You got to talk to me. I had to tell my mother one time. She, passive aggressive kind of stuff. No, talk to me like an adult. You're an adult. Tell me what you need. Okay. Tell me in plain English what you need.
Yeah.
You do that. And if you do that, when my mother does this, when she gets passive aggressive and kind of stuff, him and her said, "Look, what do you need?" And about in 5 minutes after she told me what she needs, I said, "Okay, done. Let's go on."
There's no argument.
There's no argument about it.
Right. Well, let me get the number out again. 310-928-7733.
Yeah.
310-928-7733. Our guest today is Miss Trudy Harper Hill. She's a polygamist and author of the book Planet Kindness, A Global Rebirth. And the question is, will polygamous relationship help solve some of the ills of Black America?
Yeah,
I want to say I think it will, but y'all know I've been in church all my life, Keith. But see, here's my problem, because people accept the chick on the side. Well, it's the same darn thing. We're just playing on words. There are women who they don't care if you have another woman. I think a lot of problem came in, Keith. Yeah, but I think it came in more into play when a lot of the venereal diseases came out. I think that's when women kind of went the other way.
I think it has. I think really it has more to do with money. Okay. Because
let's deal with that now.
Because the men with money, because you never hear an athlete, a rapper, an entertainer, an actor that has money have these problems, right? On the side.
There you go, Pete. Now you getting it. Now you're getting a broke man doing.
Because and this is what I call Shawana knows. I call these 100 octane guys, right? They have a bunch of chicks before you even meet them, okay?
And they have
a line. You know before you even step to this guy, he steps to you. When you make that agreement,
that he got somebody.
There's other women that are gonna come with the package, okay? So you know that when you sign on the dotted line, right? And we had this argument about this guy. He's if you're the bus driver making $30,000, you probably are not gonna get the same kind of reception. So
you're not gonna be that
guy. You're not gonna be that guy. You might be an alpha guy. You might feel like you're an alpha, but guess what? You don't have alpha money. So that does make a difference, right? The guys in that position that have a whole bunch of women behind him. When you step to this guy that he's got women behind him. Okay, you know it. So if you sign up for it, you sign your name on that dotted line, it's going to come with it. You think he's going to change his character just because you decided to get with him? No, it's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, because I got something the other women don't have. That's how the woman feels,
Yeah, when you sign up, that's like I tell guys, if the woman is, quote unquote, 8, 9, or 10, okay, she's, the odds of her being faithful are probably pretty slim because she's going to get a whole bunch of offers, okay?
But you know what, Keith, that also happened with women. Let me just throw this out. Sometimes you meet a man and he come on to you and, you guys get together. And I don't know how women feel. They think that they're the only one. As if this man been sitting, holding his hand, waiting for you to come on the scene. Women, don't be fooled. That man had a woman. He was involved in a relationship. But
lying.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but she's lying. The reason she approached it is because she knows that he's a catch.
Oh, so you're saying women want men that have other
because it's called proof. What do they call it? The proof of concept. In other words, Women will tell you, I don't want nothing that no other woman wants. Okay? First thing they'll tell
Well,
you.
Keith, let me ask you this. Why is it when women exercise that concept, we get a different handle that's not so attractive to us if we got 5 or 6 dudes?
That's easy. That's easy. Really easy. Because he's paying and you're not.
You don't know.
That ain't always the case.
If trust and believe, if you're paying, you're paying the majority of the house, so you are not going to tolerate him messing around, especially with your money.
Okay, Barbara. Now you heard what he said. You ain't gonna be messing
I'd like
around.
I'd like to chime in on this.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to chime in on this because.
And whether the man you were with had a lot of money, Trudy, let's talk about that. Sound like they had the honey.
They had the husbands that I had. Let me say this: the last husband was able to help all 4 of us. However, what I feel from my personal experience is that we're talking about money, and yes, money is important. But just in my experiences and the community, the African spiritual science community that I'm a part of, I feel that it's more about love and it's more about attention and it's more about how can we build together and have the quality time. That's been more my experience. And so in these relationships that so many of them are not working, long term, or, they got these like little 3 months, 6 months relationships now. And they're not working because people want to feel happy. People want to have peace. People want to feel, they want to feel like they're being heard and there's a commonality there. The soul needs to be fed. So I like to take things back in this conversation. I do like to take it back to us as humans, not so much as how this matrix is programming us to be all about the money and be competitive against each other, but more so get back to the root of the family structure and about us as emotional beings. We want to feel good. We want to feel joyous and happy. And a lot of us are numbing ourselves out. Like, cannabis stores are everywhere. I'm not against smoking weed. I don't smoke it. But a lot of people are, staying high. They're on medication. A lot of people are not healthy. They're not healthy because because not being true to who they really are. Okay. We're losing a lot of who we are as emotional and spiritual beings by delving so deeply into other people's cultures. When I say other people's cultures, I'm talking about the Europeanized culture out here. We're a communal people, first of all. We're born this way. We're rooted, like Dr. Rosie, you were talking about in the South. You send the kids over to the other woman's house. Like, those are your brothers and sisters, go play over there.
Right.
And so a lot of times we're not happy in the relationships, and then we get into what money can buy, the retail therapy, and thinking that you can.
Even on the continent, okay, in all societies where polygamy actually exists, right? That man has to be able to afford all of his wives. Okay.
Yes, but they don't have to buy red bottom shoes and have to have the latest Benz and the diamonds and gold.
No, they have to go. It's nothing like that. But the thing is, they have to be able to provide for all his wives. That's a requirement. Yeah. So when I say pain, when I say pain, that doesn't mean that you're doing over the top. But the thing is, you're providing for all your wives, and for the vast majority of men in this society, they can't do that. So if you're making $30,000, you cannot provide for more than one wife.
Keith, the average man.
True.
Average men are now under the circumstances in their lifestyle, they won't be able to provide for 2 wives, even sexually. Okay.
Depends.
So let's
can
we
know more
get
about
into
that than I do. Dr. Rosie, I ain't gonna even question.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a real issue with black men today.
Depends on the age of the man.
Yeah, depend on his health, you know, how he's eating, his attitude and that kind of stuff, and the baggage that he brings into the relationship. There's a lot of men weighed down with baggage, just like a lot of women. We usually don't think of men coming into a relationship with a lot of baggage, but they do, with some baggage that really does impact their sexual stamina. It really does.
Yeah, being black in America, and it's even worse for the brothers, you know. And because we are so out of order, and because there's so many people in trauma, you know, it's not that we can just all get out of relationships and go back to healing the relationship with ourselves. But now we're in a situation where it would behoove us to just really focus on our healing, our individual healing, if we're already part of a relationship dynamic. So, you know, I have one friend.
Let me ask you this question, because we're getting close to the time.
Okay.
All of these women, when you're in this relationship, you all knew each other. You shared things together. Did you go places together? Were you ever together, all in the presence of the man?
We all weren't, because, you know, they were very, you know, were mature. We were mature in the polygamous relationship. I'm the kumbaya type of, I really like the big family. And so I ventured to go places with the other women. And with one of them, the first wife I did, and she, you know, we are compatible. I was compatible with all of them except for the Libra, because she wanted to sneak. And because my ex-husband, I do have the kind of temperament where people usually tell me the secrets. And so he would tell me the things that the other women would say. And that's out of order also. But I did benefit from being told that the second wife wanted to just go on and get out of the marriage, and she wanted to be able to see him on the side without, quote unquote, me controlling everything. And I was, because I saw that, you know, my ex-husband started calling me on their days. Remember we were talking about that, Dr. Rosie, how did it fall apart?
Right.
Because we were all doing fine, but then when he started to call me on their days, because I would say, oh, where is so-and-so? And he'd say, oh, she's in the house. And I said, well, where are you? And then he'd say, oh, I'm outside by the car. And then I would say, well, why are you calling me and it's her day?
That's cheating. That's where the cheating came in, Barbara.
Yeah. And so
that's
then
what I'm talking about.
What happened is that I was free-spirited and was not jealous. However, when he started to call me on their days and was giving me more attention than I was used to in that dynamic, then I started feeling some kind of way.
Were you the youngest? Were you the youngest?
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
I was the youngest, and I was the newest wife, so like the new toy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's harder to go from being the first wife and then venturing out and letting another woman in. But I had to go through that, and it was hard because I was being possessive, me, mine, and I had gotten out of sharing. And so it is harder, but that's ego. And we need to get our egos in check. That's what I was saying, get our egos in check, learn how to talk to these men, because where are we going as a culture if we're throwing everybody away? That there are a lot of good men. I don't care. I don't ascribe to, you know, oh, these they're dogs, they cheat. No, there are a lot of good men. They're polyamorous. They need more than one woman. But if we talk to them like we have sense and aren't all up in their face every time we don't like something, or, you know, we're operating from a place where daddy didn't give us enough attention. A lot of us the relationship with our fathers they were aborted, and we didn't get enough attention. Now we're looking at this man to save us so that he can give us all this attention and fulfillment. There's 24 hours in a day. There's a lot that can be done in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And one of the things is working on our own divine purpose and our own divine destiny outside of the relationship. Then we don't need as much attention from the man if we focus on ourselves.
Let me ask you this, because women, especially black women, will accept. They might not want it, but they will accept it. So you think that's the difference why it kind of falls apart? Because they didn't really want it in the first place, but they accepted it because they wanted the man.
Yes, I do. I agree with that.
Okay.
I think sound like I hear you saying if black women learn how to, I hate to use this word act because I know it makes people angry. Learn how to respond to their men need, that they may not even have that need to really have more than one.
I don't know.
Are you saying I don't care what you do and I don't care how many times you do it, he wants somebody else? Is that what you're saying?
It depends.
I don't see a win for the women on your side. It looks like the men are always the alpha male says, okay, fine, I'll take a half a dozen of y'all and I'm gonna keep all y'all happy. But what happens when the energy flows in the other direction? I'm still on the fence. What happens to the woman who doesn't want to have a man that has 5 women, but she'd like to have 5 men? Because men love women in different ways. You got one that is social with you. You have one that is that challenge your mind. You got one that's sexual. You got that boot thing that drops it like it's hot. You have all. So now, what do women do when they have the same dynamic that you're describing? That's okay for men.
They do.
We can have that. We see. First of all, we can have anything that we want if we believe that we can. You know, we're magnetic beings. We're energy beings. If we get our minds right and we learn how to work with energy, then we can attract the things that we want. We've got a lot of work to do as human beings. I'm still working on myself. We've got to understand who we are as spiritual beings. There's a lot of work.
Let me ask Barbara this, okay? Say when the energy flows the other way, right? And she wants more than one man, okay? She wants a guy that's social with her, can talk with her, that's sexual, guy that fixes the plumbing or whatever. Okay, that's fine. If she wants it, can she fill the needs of all 4 of those guys?
Barbara, are you there?
I'm right here. I think so, Keith. The problem is that if Barbara steps into the role that we just described for men, that this is a perfectly attractive energy of what we're doing. Right. They got a different description for Barbara than what you just described for him as an alpha male.
What I'm saying is, but the alpha male has to also fit her needs. It's not a one-way thing. He gives her. He has to give her what she needs. She's not just going to come there empty-handed just to serve him. An alpha male, say a rich alpha male, he can actually satisfy the needs of all 7, 8 women that he's involved with. That's how come he can do that. So if you want,
what is the female going to do the 6 days away while he's away? While he's away at his other encampment. Because we're talking about.
Because that's the compromise that she makes to get her needs met. Okay, that's the compromise she got to make. It's always a compromise in a relationship. So a woman that has 4 guys. And I've known women that have 3 guys, but she fills the needs of all 3 of those guys. And the reason that so-called alpha women can't do it is because they want their needs met, but they're not filling the needs of the guys that are with them. So that's where the problem comes in.
And I bet those men that you're talking about don't know that she has those other men.
Actually,
say that, Dr. Rosie. I don't know why Keith is acting like he don't understand what I'm saying. Because it would be a 10-round boxing.
Barbara, hold on a second. Actually, they do. They do. Actually,
well, what's the description? What's the description for female that I just described to you? Who has 4 men, one that she goes dancing with, salsa dancing, one that she has sex with, one that she has intellectual battles with, and one she just likes to cuddle with on Saturday. What do they call that girl? What's her description?
I hear you. Yes, that she's promiscuous.
Y'all keep acting like y'all don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. But Barbara, look, because I agree with polygyny, polyandry, whatever people want to do that makes them feel how they want to feel and be how they want to be. But we got to be confident and comfortable with who we are. So people are going to talk about us either way.
Yeah. I personally know like 4 or 5 women that have, that are married and have 2 guys on the side, and the husband knows that she's creeping. Okay, but the thing is, she's taking care of what she needs. She's taking care of what's necessary for him to have that household. and she's taking care of the other two guys the way they need to be taken care of. So they all kind of know about each other, but the thing is,
it's all about meeting needs. It's all
about meeting needs. Yeah,
all about knowing what
I know
the
they are. In fact, I've had it whispered to me. Yeah, I know where she's going. Yeah, I know who she's going with.
Yeah, because some people don't need sex every week, don't need it every month. Okay, so it doesn't matter to some people. So I see how they can deal in that kind of relationship.
I've been in that situation where you had to juggle 3 women. Okay, and I kept them separate for a reason. But the thing is, they knew about each other. They knew about each other. But the thing is, I met the needs of all 3.
So they didn't care.
There it is. I knew Keith was going to come out in a minute. I knew the real Keith was going to show up in a minute.
Wow. I never said I was a saint.
Well, the real
Dr. Rosie knows I ain't no saint, okay?
You know.
You are a saint, Keith. You are a saint. And I love this. And what I want to do is I want to continue to have these conversations. I want to take these conversations in the church because my hope is that we can all get along and like we can love the other people.
Yeah, but the Nation of Islam are, as far as men are concerned, the Nation of Islam already does that, okay? And,
but I don't know if they take
they do it with men to women, but not women to men.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Okay, this is the way it works in the Nation of Islam because I've had these arguments with them, right? Okay, black women prefer to be serial monogamous, right? They don't really like a whole bunch of guys at one time, right? What they want to do is to have a husband for a certain amount of years. When she gets unhappy with him, she's going to take her and her kids and whatever she has and go to the next guy. And she could do that 3 or 4 times. In fact, I think her name was Barbara Stewart, right? She's actually wrote a book called Black Women, Black Love. She calls it Africana Kinship Network. In other words, the preferable method for them, white women actually like to have more than one man at one time. The preferable method for black women, most of them, is to have serial monogamy.
Okay.
That's the way it's been practiced in the past, back down in the country.
We church folks. You got to understand, we church folks.
I'm saying that. I'm not saying why, but the thing is, this is their preference.
Well, I'm a serial monogamist. I'm a serial monogamist because the men kept on lying. Like I never got married. But I asked him in the beginning. I asked each one of them, "Do you want to have more than one woman?" And the fact that they were still being not polygamous, but polyamorous, but because they didn't want me to delve off and get tired of it, that's where all the lies came. And I'm like, no, honey, I am monogamous. Like, I just need honesty, and I need some attention.
It's a trap.
That's what they thought. And I was like, do you want a threesome?
Yeah.
They thought it was a trap. They just could not trust me. I'm like, well, if you can't trust me, then I don't think you'll ever be able to trust anybody because I'm very, very loyal.
Yeah.
But they just could not, because of the trauma or, just past experiences, they were not able to trust that I would accept that. But I'm not a what do you call it, anomaly? I'm not the only woman who will embrace that.
Yeah, but here's my question for all of you. If you were on an island and it wasn't a community and there were 4 women there and you loved a man and he loved 4 other women and you were all sharing, if there were no one else on that island but you, would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
My point is that Shawana says she's okay?
They're okay with it now. You got a rapper with 11 baby mamas and 22 kids. Okay, they'll all take the picture together.
Do you see how beautiful?
Go ahead.
Do you see how beautiful it can be that if we stop being contentious with each other? I'm talking about the women. Like there's enough hours in the day for us to focus on ourselves when the man is not with us, and all of the stuff to do for our own purpose. And then these other women can actually help us. We can help each other. That's where my position is in getting back to the being close-knit.
And it has a lot to do with what other people think, you guys. I want you to focus on that. Those who are listening.
Okay.
Most of what we do in this life is not based on what we feel and what we really want to do. We spend our life pleasing others and trying to fit in where we get in. So when you get bold enough to step outside of that fitting in and concerned about what matters to other people, because you don't matter to them. So why is it you're letting them matter to you? I think things will change in many ways when we know who we are and do what makes us happy. Because most people are unhappy because they're not doing what makes them happy.
Exactly.
That's why most people are unhappy, Keith, because they're not doing what makes them happy. They're doing what mama say do. They're doing what their pastors say do.
Yeah.
They're trying to fit too many scripts that's been written for them.
Yeah.
Instead of carving out their own role. Because when you do, people see you as being different.
It's kind of hard if your society's not set up for this kind of stuff. And there's difference between some place like on the continent because their society is set up for different kinds of arrangements. Okay. Western societies are not really set up for it. So it's all kind of legal barriers and financial barriers and social barriers that actually stand in the way of it. So it's
that is true.
Well,
that's the old paradigm. That's the old paradigm. These millennials and these Gen Zs that are entrepreneurs and artists, they are changing the game. And I'm so grateful for them because they are helping to dismantle all of these systems that are in place that have caused this trauma, this conformity. You know, if we're all being who we are, none of us are. We're all unique beings.
We are. But the thing is, how you organize people is dependent on the environment that you're in. So there was a reason to organize monogamous marriages and stuff. There was actually a really good reason for it. That reason might not be there anymore. That's probably why it's changing and breaking down.
You guys, our time is up, and this show is going to re-air. For those who didn't get a chance to listen, you guys are going to re-air again at 6 p.m.
I ain't finished with you, Barbara.
Pacific Standard Time. Keith just
I'm looking for you too.
At 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I want to thank my guest for being so transparent.
Yes.
I just love the way she's laying stuff out. Now, look, ladies, don't go out there and go crazy and try to get you 5 women today. Well, Dr. Milligan said we need. You know how y'all be lying on me, right? I did not say that.
Male or female, if you can afford them, go get them. Okay.
Okay.
Let's have a part 2. And you guys can find me at Trudy True Love because I want to speak about this. I want to continue this conversation and help to heal our people and get these relationships straight.
Okay.
Say that website again, Trudy. Say it again.
At Trudy, TRUDI, at Trudy True Love, TRULOVE on Instagram.
What's that song? I'm looking for love
to
call my own. You know that, Keith?
Yeah.
Looking here and there.
I wasn't born yet. I don't know.
And you know what song I like? I like that song, Just Be Good to Me. Remember that song?
Yeah.
People always talking about reputation. I don't care about the other girls. Just be good to me. Remember that?
All right. I like that. Well,
you guys, that's what I like.
We're going to sign off. We're going to do part 2, okay?
Yes.
We're going to get a man on here who's practicing.
Thank you, Dr. Rosie.
Thank you.
Have
a great day.
Shawana. Okay, you too. Peace.
Shawana ain't saying nothing about scary cat. That's
yeah,
what
she's
she
scary
is.
cat, yeah.
Scared.
I ain't finished with you, Barbara.